The United States in the 1930s, the country was suffering from the Great Depression following the stock market crash of 1929, with domestic demand collapsing and industrial overproduction. Companies were desperately seeking overseas markets to survive. South America became a crucial trade destination for American businesses. Ships began frequent voyages carrying machinery, building materials, oil, minerals, and other resources. During this time, these transatlantic cargo ships would use local soil or sand as ballast to maintain balance. It was through this seemingly ordinary practice that an alarming creature quietly invaded the United States, setting off a century-long ecological disaster. The invasive species that arrived with the ballast soil in the 1930s is none other than the red imported fire ant. Their nests traveled on cargo ships from South America to Mobile, Alabama, where they established their first foothold in the US, initially small and cohabiting with native ants. Over a decade later, as American agriculture mechanized and construction of lawns, pastures, and highways increased, soil transportation became more frequent. Fire ants spread rapidly across grass, building materials, and farm machinery. By the 1950s, they had established large colonies in multiple southern states. Livestock was hit first. Stepping on fire ant mounds could lead to severe attacks from worker ants that bite and inject venom through their abdomens, causing pain, inflammation, muscle necrosis, and sometimes death. Newborn livestock were particularly vulnerable. If placed near a mound, they would be overwhelmed by the ants and unable to escape due to their weak condition, often dying within 30 minutes if not rescued. Fire ants also feed on moist tissues like eyes, noses, wounds, and umbilical cords of these animals, making the sight gruesome. The presence of fire ant mounds made harvesting grass difficult for farmers. Additionally, some fire ants prefer dry, warm, confined spaces, often gathering in electrical boxes and causing short circuits, power outages, and equipment failures, creating a unique fire and electrical damage problem in the South. Human fatalities from fire ants since their invasion in the 1930s are estimated at around 80 to 100 people, mostly due to allergic reactions rather than venom. Wildlife suffered even more. Millions of baby birds die annually due to fire ant attacks across the southern region. The overall economic loss exceeds $6 billion to $7 billion per year. Efforts by the US government in the 1950s to control the ants with large-scale aerial and ground pesticide spraying were abandoned due to environmental concerns and limited effectiveness. In the 1970s, entomologists at the USDA proposed importing natural enemies from South America as a solution. Before revealing this powerful predator, let's introduce our new member film about corpses sitting up in morgues. A common horror movie scene that actually happens with scientific backing and biblical references. There are also complete bodies found without bones, possibly linked to ancient sacrificial practices. To learn more, watch the exclusive video now. Returning to fire ants, the natural enemies brought back from South America proved effective against them. Add parasitoids. That is right. It's a living ant world with parasitic flies known as the claw ants. The name comes from their small size, fast flight, and jumping movements that resemble a combination of a jumping spider and a fly. They are called Phorid for short. In 2012, Euryprasia nananiholi was published in the Annals of the Entomological Society of America as one of the world's smallest flies. Among these tiny flies, there is a group that lives parasitically on earthworms, snails, spiders, centipedes, various insects, and fire ants. Interestingly, those targeting fire ants are often called decapitating flies. This is due to their terrifying parasitic method. When the tiny flies spot a fire ant, they quickly rush towards it, injecting soft into its thorax. The soft then hatches inside the ant's body and moves toward its head, slowly eating away at its brain tissue. During this time, the ant remains alive but starts behaving abnormally, first moving slower, then losing direction, and finally leaving the colony. This is all part of the fly larva's plan to avoid the dangerous ant nest. By forcing the ant out, it ensures a safe environment for the larva to develop into an adult. Once outside the colony, the larva in the ant's head secretes enzymes that break down the tissue between the head and thorax until they separate. The larva then develops inside the detached head. This is why they recall decapitating flies. But why do they do this? While many species can be parasitized by these flies, only fire ants are decapitated. It's not because of any grudge, but because it is the most effective way for them to reproduce. The hard exoskeleton of an ant head provides a safe and stable environment for development. However, humans have cleverly used this mechanism against fire ants. But due to their unique reproductive method, researchers faced challenges in mass producing these flies. They found that decapitating flies are most successful when attacking moving ants. So they designed a system with rising cups that force the ants to move continuously, making it easier for the flies to parasitize them. This clever design allowed the US Department of Agriculture to release millions of decapitating flies in Texas and other states starting from 1997. While fire ants didn't disappear completely, their numbers were significantly reduced due to behavioral changes induced by the presence of these flies. Although the number of killed ants is small, less than 4% per colony, the flies caused significant behavioral disruptions. Fire ants stopped foraging, retreated quickly into nests, and altered their activity patterns to avoid the flies. This allowed native ant species to regain ground in areas previously dominated by fire ants. So while these decapitating flies didn't eliminate fire ants entirely, they helped reduce their impact, allowing other species to thrive again. It's a victory for humans in this ongoing battle. Many people might wonder why this initiative hasn't failed like other biological control examples, where introduced species start attacking native ones. This is actually the key to its success. While in South America, phorid flies parasitize many ant species, those brought to the US are specific to Solenopsis invicta or fire ants. Before introducing these flies, researchers tested them with various American native ants and found that they rarely attempt to lay eggs on non-fire ants. Even if they do, their larvae struggle to develop. This is because phorid flies have co-evolved with fire ants in South America for millions of years. They recognize the specific scent, behavior patterns, and body size of fire ants. Their larvae can only complete development inside fire ant hosts. Other ants are off limits. The fly larvae cannot even enter their heads. This specificity makes them ideal for controlling fire ants without harming native species. Today, 6 phorid fly species have been successfully introduced in the US, where they don't attack native ants, but effectively limit fire ant territories. This helps maintain ecological balance and gives humans an upper hand in this human-ant battle.